The objective of the next little session until lunch will be to present the nits and grits of Democracy Reloading Partnership. We know that some of you have been already participating in some of our activities, so we don't want to bore you, but we did it a little bit differently. We would like to share some of the experience and the lessons learned so far, so we would also like to involve you in a debate in the afternoon and a discussion how to improve Democracy Reloading Partnership, because it's a partnership, so it's everybody's partnership. We would like to hold your hand for 7 years, so we would like to really work with municipalities, with you, on developing the democracy reloading tools and the activities, and we would also count you as resources, as experts, as contributors, and also as the target of the different, the users of the different activities. So, first of all, I would like to give the floor to Stephanie, who will give us a little retrospect to how we got here, what happened in this last 6 or already almost 7 years, that we got here, that we became a partnership of 17 countries.
Yes, so we did not wake up one day and starting to dream about how to engage young people in democracy. This is a long-term cooperation project that started already in 2015. It was only 5 national agencies at the time that together and started a training activity in Budapest, quite meaningful place now when you think about democracy. When we wanted to empower youth workers on how to engage young people, but quite quickly by also talking and exploring what were the challenges when engaging young people, especially at local level, we noticed that few things were done for municipality workers, or at least from the youth field perspective, there was few things really done at the time, really targeting municipality workers that are maybe not youth workers and maybe they don't even have young people inside of their house. So it's a tricky position also for them, and how to equip them to engage was quite challenging. So we decided that first we have to understand what is the reality of people working within the municipality that are not especially policymakers, maybe don't have the power, but they have the mandate. They have been asked to engage young people. So we asked a researcher to help us, and we conduct a research with interview, survey, and questionnaires, one-to-one interview, just first to understand what are the tasks that municipality workers has to do within the municipality to engage young people, and related to these tasks, what are the competencies that they think is needed. So Democracy Reloading is really a project that is not coming from us as national agency. It's really based on the needs and on the collection of practices of input from people exactly like you. So this is very important that we mention that, because it's not really not a top-down approach. It's really the way around. And so we started by doing this research, creating a map to understand what are the realities and what were the competencies needed. And then we started to test this map and think, okay, is it really fitting to all the realities in all the countries? So we have organized study visits. We use this map to test and to understand your own realities, and then we came up with the final version. But in the meantime, 5 years passed, and we have gathered 150 practitioners. I don't know how many resources, practices, tips, documents, policy documents, and we say, okay, we have so many knowledge in your hands. We have so many people that we can already count on. We have to do something with this and collect all these things. And this is where we started to create this toolkit, and then we give really a push in last year by saying, okay, now we will commit for 7 years, which is the time of the program. We will put resources, human resources, financial resources. We will develop different activities to support municipality workers to engage young people. So the main aim of this partnership is really to reload or increase or improve local democracy through engaging young people into decision making. So that's really the main aim, and you will see after with the objectives as well how we have structured it, because as I say this morning, the toolkit is one tool, but it's not the only one in this partnership. So yeah, that's the main aim of this partnership, is to develop the local democracy by engaging young people. And I give the floor to Latsi, maybe, to present the objectives.
Thank you. The first objective is, because somehow we would like to make sure that we reach this aim. We would like to support local municipalities, regional municipalities, to develop democracy through youth participation in decision making. So in this sense, we think that youth participation in decision making is something that can also contribute to the rethinking of local democracy, which also means that potentially this program may also have a good impact not only on youth work and youth policy, but also the discussion on democracy and on engaging citizens in rethinking democracy and influencing local politics. So the very first, let's say, objective through which we would like to reach this aim is to provide different stakeholders. When we talk about stakeholders, and this is a stakeholder conference, so we talk about, first of all, in the very first place, people that are placed inside the municipalities, meaning that functionaries, civil servants, officers, desk officers, people that are responsible for youth policy within the municipality, but also we mean here people who are elected in the local local councils, local committees, or depending on where it is called differently. Of course, we count on youth workers, because we know, and it was also said in the panel discussion, that without youth workers, we can't really talk about youth participation in decision making. No matter how open the municipality is, you need also support to young people, and these are the youth workers who can make empowerment, who can create the potential of having a consultative process. We also count on trainers who are able to train municipality staff on national and regional level, also on European level. We also count on consultants. Consultants meaning people that are coming from the business sector. It's a big business. In some countries, for example, there is this new organization or company called Citizen Lab from Belgium, who are giving service to municipalities for a very, very high amount of money. It's very expensive. It's how to create online engagement. So we would also like to train some consultants that are not as expensive as the business sector in the 7 years, that can help municipalities to deliver this change, to make sure that it can happen. Because without a consultant, sometimes it doesn't work. Sometimes if the youth policy officer says, oh yeah, let's do it, some people in the hierarchy says, oh, what is it about? It doesn't have a weight. But sometimes if it's a consultant from outside, then you can create the necessary organizational culture. And of course, we need researchers like Dan and other colleagues who are also giving us some flesh on the bone, like what is the whys and the needs, the relevance, and also the trends where we are going. And we have here the national agency staff, who is as important because they have the money. Not only because of that, but they have resources. I mean, the European Union doubled, I think, the Erasmus Plus funds. Some national agencies cannot spend all the money that is available, so we have a lot of money in these pockets to actually do projects and to empower municipalities to be able to provide high-quality service and high-quality programs in these regards. So we would like to create this online toolkit, which is basically done, but we think that we would like to make it a dynamic toolkit, which means that it will have user-generated content as well as it will be regularly updated, because we don't believe that knowledge and information is a static thing. We will see how the first content revision will be already next year, so we would like to see what is outdated, what is not there, and make sure that it is relevant. The next one.
Can you switch to, yeah. Yeah, so the next one is about you, it's about the trainers, about the NA, is how we enable these people to acquire these competencies, to exchange practices, to develop their own competencies. So this, the slide disappeared, but I did not took notes, so. But that was yeah, thank you. So it's really to enable all these people to be on the same line, to understanding what is the purpose, what is youth participation in the local reality, how to engage in, how to make them more active, and how to equip them also in the different with the different competencies. It's also going through the promotion of the toolkits, making people aware that these resources are existing, because I heard, like, I think in Spain there are 400 municipalities, in Belgium there are, I don't know, I don't count, but more than almost 500 municipalities. So there are a lot of municipalities everywhere in the world, and you are only a few of here. So the promotion, exchanging, sharing that among your colleagues is extremely important. And what is important is these toolkits. It's not only in English, it's translated in your own languages. That was really the first requirement we request from national agencies. And it's not only a translation, it's really an adaptation. So the content, for example, the practices and the tips sometimes will be different from a country to another, because the idea is that it will reflect better your own reality. So national agencies with the national content manager, how we call them, they are providing and adapting also some resources that will better reflect your own reality at local level.
Then the next one is ensuring different stakeholders working in municipalities to make good use of the Erasmus Plus funds. As I mentioned, there is funding available, so we would like to help municipalities through the partnership, through the training activities, to empower and build a capacity of making relevant and good projects, high quality projects that can ensure also funding.
Yes, and then not the last one, but it's also that we would like to contribute, as it was mentioning in the very beginning and this morning by Laurence, the youth strategy for youth, the main priority is youth participation, how to engage young people in the society, in developing the present and the future. It's really one of the top priority, and that also with this partnership we would like also to contribute to the development of policies, more engaging young people. We know that in some countries youth policy doesn't exist, or there is no youth participation policy. So by this project we also hope to equip and give some tools for advocating for people like you, to strengthen and contribute to the development of youth policy, more engaging young people into the decision making, of course at local, but also at national, regional and European level.
And last but not least, we are working with the national agencies who are closer to the municipalities in each country. So we are trying also to make sure that we build the capacity of the national agencies in terms of addressing municipalities, cooperating with municipalities, and also understanding what their needs are. So how to actually engage with them in a high quality cooperation. In the last years, in the former programs, municipalities were not a high priority. It was never disconnected from the youth program, but there were not a lot of projects by municipalities. So we would also like to see a raise of high quality projects by municipalities. And for this, we also help the national agencies. And the toolkit is available already in 8 languages, and we are foreseeing 2-3 more already this year. This is a self-directed learning tool. You can also see the reference framework, which is inside of the folder, which is the basis of the toolkit. This is the result of the research, the consultation process. It's the result of 6 years work with the target group. And based on this reference framework of 24 competencies, we developed a toolkit. We collected a lot of resources, a lot of information. Some people say it is too much. It's very difficult to find out what is the optimal amount of information and knowledge. But ideally, if somebody goes through this toolkit, which doesn't require so much time, then it would definitely help in understanding the whole map of what is needed for a municipality to deliver youth participation in a quality approach. Of course, sometimes it's not one person, sometimes it's more people, so the toolkit is also made available that you can learn collectively together with the people who are from the same municipality. There are also some exercises to make it a little bit interactive. In some cases, we identified 8 key competencies that, let's say, that could be the entry point for those municipalities who have never done anything on this field. So it's a kind of first stepping stone for them to get involved and get into the learning process. The languages that are available now is English, French, Italian, Norwegian, Croatian, Slovak, Estonian, and Portuguese. Dutch and Hungarian are almost ready. It's not yet available, but I think in a few weeks it will be also available. And we have some expressions of interest from the Spanish National Agency, from the Finnish National Agency, from the Greek National Agency to translate it also into these languages. We hope by the end of the 7 years we will have all the EU languages at least, but we also plan to have Russian and Arabic in the coming years so that it can also cross the border of EU. The lessons learned that we already know after using the toolkit with some target group, we had a few training activities where we also consulted some experts to give us feedback on what they think of it. The language adaptation is very important. So this is why we developed the national coordinators, content managers who will be constantly also reviewing and checking if the links are correct, if not broken, wordings, if they consult with experts what to do, what to change, how to shorten is possible. It will be also part of the first content review next year is to shorten as much as possible. We know that especially the target group is not well equipped with a lot of extra time, so we should make it as simple, but as relevant and high quality still. The plans that we have regarding the improvement of the toolkit is immense. We collected a lot of ideas. I will share it with you. But before that, it would be nice to share with you some of the experience of making the toolkit. And Raluca was one of the experts who was involved in collecting the content, sorting the content, selecting the content, and finally making it in a format that is now available. So if Raluca, you could share some of your experience, struggles, questions, and achievements during this work, please.
Thank you so much, Laszlo, and good morning, good afternoon already, everybody. Contributing to the toolkit, putting the toolkit together was a real adventure, I have to say. And it felt sometimes, and Laszlo I think can support that as well, it felt like plunging into a huge ocean. We have the ocean almost next door. So I felt a bit like that because I had been working on supporting youth participation already for 10 years when I started working on the toolkit. And I had come across a lot of projects, experiences. I had been a youth participation supporter myself, and I still felt that I didn't know enough. So that's why working with a team like where Laszlo, Stephanie, and all the rest were a part of was such a support, because I felt that this pool of expertise was put together in order to produce the toolkit. And also the toolkit was conceived as a participatory and inclusive process where a lot of people were given the floor and the opportunity to contribute to it, like Laszlo was explaining. So it was not the product of a couple of people that put their heads together. It was the product of a very long process and a very big group of people that contributed to it in their own way. It hasn't been easy because when we first had our meeting together, I think it was in 2018 about the toolkit, right? And now, after so many years, looking back at all the work, all the struggles, the discussions, should we do this, should we pick that, should we pick the other, whom should we involve, what could we put into it in order to make it as useful as possible. Looking back and being here today, it makes me feel so proud and also a bit scared of all the work that still needs to be done, like Laszlo was explaining, because it's not the end. It's not like now, we are gathered here to say, yes, this is the toolkit, we've done all this work and now you can use it. No, not at all. It's a work in progress. And it has always been thought of like this, to be a work in progress, to be something that will continue its evolution, that will continue to listen to the feedback of its users, and you are its users. So I'm so excited because, I've been waiting for this moment to see how the toolkit is being used and to be able to think with the team how to continue growing it.
Thank you very much, Raluca. We could talk a lot about it probably, but I think this gives a good picture of the immense work that is behind, and also the contradictions sometimes and the big questions that you have in such a concise and big job. The plans that we have which is coming very soon, is a self-assessment function. So anybody working in a municipality can go and do a self-assessment test, which shows what are the weak and the strength points of the person. It can help a little bit the self-reflection and also to give some orientation, which are the competencies that the person should focus on in the learning process. We will have a newsletter, so people can sign up on the website for a newsletter, and we would like to create the possibility of adding new practices for anybody. So if somebody from a municipality would like to add a practice, a failure or a success story, then it will be possible very easily to add it. We would also like to try to insert the practice to the relevant boxes, to the relevant competence, but this is probably a bigger, ambitious idea. Let's see first how we can collect more practices. And then we have a lot of new features which we got from the experts. There are people here who contributed. Flavio is here, Dan Moxon, Dr. Dan Moxon is here, Evelyn is here, Eva Mantila was not able to come from Finland. There are a lot of people who are working with municipalities or in municipalities who had a footprint on this product in different ways. And we still have a big file of further recommendations, ideas, new links, resources that are waiting for the next year's content revision when we would like to see how to still update and work on the content. We have ideas of test, quiz, a municipality pledge to support municipalities to get devoted, to make sure that the hierarchy is somehow devoted. So it would be nice to, in the next year's development, to have a pledge possibility, a statement of intention, which is a bit of a political devotion, which can help the youth unit of the municipality to advocate. Certification, benchmarking, these are the more we go to the later are probably in time it will be not in the coming 2 years, but on the long term. Benchmarking, quality label for municipalities, branding can also be a very interesting dimension to give the brand of Democracy Reloading to certain municipalities who really have innovative, inspirational, and high quality work on this. Stephanie. And can we ask Alvaro to start this
the
little
webinars.
link?
Well, as this conference should have happened in March 2020, and then it was postponed 3 times, we also decided that, okay, we will not leave the toolkit like this. We will at least try to kick off a bit the launch of the toolkit online. And this is why we developed webinars. And actually, we found out that it was quite useful for people, at least to get an introduction. That will be the main aim of the toolkit, of the webinar, sorry. It's to give a big introduction on what is the partnership and what is the toolkit and how it can be used at local level. So next year they will have 7 webinars, and it's also good preparation also for people attending the training activity that we will offer. I'm not sure that the video will work, but that's okay. We can provide you the link later on, and let's try.
It's just a teaser.
Yes. Yes. You see, after 1.5 years of online, we are still not perfect on that. There was no sound.
It's okay.
I just managed to destroy the sound of our computer a little bit ago. But for the tutorial video, we have another computer. So.
Yeah, but basically, we explained the objectives, what a bit the toolkit. Yes, we give Raluca input or expert input, how they have been used, municipality workers also. Evelyn, for example, from Belgium was giving also an intervention. Flavio, if I remember, and other people, like, they are just contributing now how personally it was, how they use it and how it was useful. I think we can stop this and pass to the next one. Thank.
Can we get back to the... Okay, so regarding the webinars, we had the 1.5-hour webinars, which seem to be still long, so we have to shorten. In this online world, you have to shorten as much as possible because people are sitting in front of the computers and they are checking their emails anyway. So it's very hard to make a very meaningful and very, very efficient. You have to be extremely professional to be able to keep the attention of people. Here it's nicer because if I raise my hand and people may put away their telephones, but in the online setting, it's much more difficult because you cannot really control what people do in front of the screen. You can't even see what they do in front of the screen because they only see their faces. So you cannot read if they are doing something well, or if something you are saying relevant, or you are saying completely irrelevant things. It's very, very hard. So our idea regarding the webinars is that we would like to shorten it as much as possible, to be extremely powerful with the messages and be very to the point. We will not talk about how the toolkit was developed and how, because it's not interesting. Will be very user-oriented something. So we had a lessons learned after 4 webinars, and we have a budget for 8 more webinars in the coming 1.5 years. So we would also count on some of you probably who could be experts in these webinars and share your experience and share your practice. Yes, I think this is mainly what is important about the webinars. The biggest question is how to reach those municipalities who are not there in our 500 email list. So how to enlarge the cooperation, how to reach out to municipalities who don't do anything in this regard, who don't even know that they can do something, who have never heard about engaging young people in decision making. Module A. Bruno, Module A is yours.
So we had recently the first experience in the end of August in San Miniato with the help of the Consortium Coesia, but hosted by the Italian NA. And it was the first time we put together key stakeholders, key actors of this process. So we had trainers, that hopefully will support the municipalities, train the municipality workers and organizations that are supporting municipalities working on this specific topic. We had also consultants, people with a profile more consultancy, trying to support municipalities in more long-term process. We had also people that were coming from the even municipalities, more this role of the promotion of this, how to outreach, and we had the national agencies. So it was a huge challenge, I would say, to put all these profiles, and Roland is telling me yes, yes. But we had, and Roland was also there from the French National Agency, but we had a good quality time to also think how these projects can work on national level. So there was a lot of planning, action planning in terms to support this cooperation and bring it. Anna, you want to add something from your perspective?
Yes, we had delegation from 12 countries all around Europe. That was really cool to have it. And I think that it was kind of a milestone finally to see if the transnational level can be transferred at national and local level, that it's always something tricky sometimes. And I think that, for example, just to report our experience, it was also a good point to start working really with our stakeholders, because national agencies sometimes, especially in these last 2 years, has not really the chance to reach them in a very relevant way sometimes. But yes, we also have some lesson learned in this case, especially try to focus a little bit more on the profile of participants, also because Bruno was explaining all the profiles, and sometimes it's hard to define a little bit better who we can really involve in this kind of activities. And there are many differences from country to countries, of course. Also, youth policies are so different from country to country implemented at local and national level. So from this lesson learned, we are planning to have another training courses in 2022 in Italy again, just to not change this best part that we had all together. And so going through, this lesson learned to go in a good direction, in a better direction. And I think that really to underline that for us, especially, for example, for our delegation in Italy, it was very important finally to connect with local levels and see if the toolkit can be transferred at local level.
One interesting aspect we had was an activity that was organized in the framework of this training that Laris and Fabricio from Consorcio Coesa was organizing, and really tried to transfer this project and this initiative to the local level. Laris, can you tell us a little bit about this experience?
Yeah. Okay, what we did is to try to connect the local stakeholders, local decisors, with European, with the international audience. And what we did was to engage them, but always challenging, even if we knew them, because sometimes we work with them. We are part of an informal network of youth workers from 10 cooperatives and associations. And what we did is to connect them and let them participate in one moment of our meeting. And one first part was only with Italians, with Anna Villani from our national agency, gave them information, not only about the project, but what national agency can provide them, enriching their knowledge about European support in supporting youth too. And this was very useful on the local environment, because they are not very expert on it. We saw that the way we work as youth workers is much faster, it's another speed in comparison with how local administration work, especially on the European knowledge of tools, of methods, guidelines. And so this is very important also for our work of youth workers, in order to work better with them, in order to stay on the same page, because sometimes we talk with them and we are not on the same page. We talk about the future and they are still in the past. Not to say something bad about them, but this is our reality. And this help from our national agency is really fundamental to stay on the same speed, on the same level. Another activity was to compare the good practices in tables, in mixed tables, Italians, stakeholders and Europeans and national agencies. It was very enriching, very fast, but very enriching at the same time. Last step, it was to provide a visit to touch with their hands what example of participation. And we show how we work in a, not work, but it's a voluntary place. It's called Circolo Arci. It's a branch of a national organization, Italian national organization, based on values of peace and not violence and anti-fascism, inclusion, all the values we recognize in. And if you want to work with youth, I think it's fundamental that we recognize in it. And it was a place where we can organize, we can give voice to the young people, to the organizations, and to intergenerational connections. And we organize a dinner there, and so all the participants can connect and see in reality how we work and how participation is developed by actions. And we had a small presentation of some project, especially one key action 3 that we finished some days ago, and last weekend we had the final event. It was successful. And yes, we presented this in a non-formal way after the dinner. So this is our experience. We are very proud to have hosted Democracy Reloading Module A. Thank you.
Thank you, Laris. Thank you.
In San Miniato, in our beautiful Tuscany in Italy.
It was beautiful. It was beautiful. Some of you were there. So for the future, we're going to focusing on the people that are supporting municipalities. So the trainers and the consultants is a bit of what is going to focus the coming edition.
So if you know, it will be also one of the discussion points for the afternoon. If you also know people who would be relevant to become trainers and consultants for the Democracy Reloading, then please think of them and let us know. Module B. Module B is designed for staff of municipalities. This is the most important training activity that we have. We would like to have as many as possible of this. The module we tested in Budapest in the beginning of September with nearly 30 participants. You can see the participants here. I think the feedback of the participants is very positive. So what we received in the evaluation is really accepting, understanding the idea, becoming a partners. Some of them who were participants in Module B are also here. Maybe instead of me praising it, how good it was and how good we are, maybe it's better if I pass or if Bruno passes his microphone to Luis and Carmen. Maybe just very briefly, what you experience and how you feel about it.
For me, it was a great experience. I have been working with youngsters almost all my life. But for me, the toolkit is as you pass to the handcraft era, to the technician era, to the industrial era, a way to work in a systematic way. The things you have to keep in mind to make a very successful project. I think I realized that you can use it in different ways. For instance, as a IT oracle or a Chinese biscuit. Someday you go in the morning and say, what happened with my practice in youth participation? You take at random some of the competencies, and then you have to an opportunity to reflect about your practice around it. That, for me, it was a very, very good discovery. It is enough.
Thank you very much. Would you like to say something? Okay, poquito.
Hello, I was participant of this module, and for me it was very inspiring experience, because in my municipality we are like a child in diapers in this topic, and for me I was very curious when I want to do the training. And for me, it was very, very inspiring. I talked with my counselors in my municipality about this. But for me, the best part of all was the inspiring practices for my partners that explain their experiences and my head is plenty of ideas now about how to do all this in my village. Thank you.
Muchas gracias. So we had this experience, the very first one. We have a kind of modular description now, which can be repeated. Patricia is somewhere here as well. Patricia. If Bruno can give for a tiny bit also to Patricia. Patricia is Patricia. I mean, she's lovely. She's a lovely young trainer who has just finished one of the training of trainers of the European youth program. It was probably one of your first training activities, one of the few first ones. Not the very first. Okay, sorry. But anyway, Patricia was one of the trainers in the team, so maybe you can share your experience.
Okay, good morning, everyone. I'm a little bit nervous. Mom and Dad, I'm in the TV. Hello. Okay, some words. I think we are in the good way because we have this room full of people that are motivated and want to learn and want to share experience and want to know more about youth participation. We know that we are not in the good way because youngsters have new tools and new ways to participate, and some of us, like me, don't know these ways, and we need to discover. I think it's the next step. And the Toolkit can help us, all of us, to understand better the youth participation, and you have a lot of information, and maybe the next step is to involve the political makers to understand the importance of youth participation in decision makers. I think that's it. Thank you. I'm very nervous. I'm trembling. Thank you. And if you want to know more, I'm around. Okay? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Patricia. Patricia has the experience of running a Module B training course, so it will be also valuable in the coming years, because every year we would like to run minimum two Module Bs. We know already that next year there will be one in Portugal, hosted by the Portuguese National Agency, and there will be one in Norway, hosted by the Norwegian.
Norway is not yet confirmed. Huh?
Norway is not yet confirmed. No, but we know that Norway wants to host either, I don't know where you are. Either a study visit or
yes, but it's
okay.
You will know.
You will know when we get there. We cross the bridge when we get there. Okay. So minimum. We know that this is the number 60 is not an immense number for a year, but it's 60 municipalities. It's already a lot. Plus the impact that it may have for people that they know. They can also set examples. We would like to go step by step, and quality is more important than the quantity for these 7 years, I think. This we already said to ourselves. So, Module C. Module C is probably the most important module because this is to empower young people. This is not yet, we haven't done it yet. The Council of Europe has also experienced in the 50-50. We had Speak, Listen training activity where we invited, Speak, Listen was called because Speak, young people speak, and municipality listen. So that was the original idea. Of course, we know that some municipalities prefer speaking than listening. But we would like to design a very similar to Module B, which is a well-designed, well-shaped, repeated module that can reach as many people as possible, to design a Module C for young people to empower them how to advocate for youth participation in decision making in their own community, how to convince the decision makers, how to gather other young people, how to consult with youth organizations, how to be the advocate of change in their own community. Some of them may be already working in youth councils or old-fashioned structures. This Module C would also inspire them to rethink existing structures, because in some cases these structures are very dusty, so you have to undust them and maybe to bring some fresh ideas. The first activity that we plan will be next year. Will be in 2023. Next year we would like to bring together a group of experts. Maybe some of you will be at this table to start thinking of, and of course young people, we would like to have some young people who have experience in this to start designing this Module C and run the first one in 2023. Study visit.
I didn't know. No, but the one important aspect is, okay, we train people, you exchange practice, but the best way also is to go to a country and see what is happening really on the field, talking with colleagues, really seeing in practice, meeting all the young people, and this is why we are also planning to have visits to a municipality or region that has interesting practices. We already did one in Belgium, we did also one in Portugal, and of course there are much more interesting practice also in other countries. So it's also an invitation if you want, or if you think that in your municipality or in the region you have interesting practice that you would like to showcase or exchange or improve, because this is also the idea. It's not only to showcase, but it's really exchange and how to improve your own practices as well. Please let us know. So it will be part of the plan. Maybe we will have one in 2022. I said it's not yet confirmed because national agencies are working right now on the work plan. So, but soon in a month, all these things will be confirmed. And the idea is that we would like also to have, we have this partnership with Euro Goes Local that Jonas could further explain on how to improve quality youth work at local level. So we have also this partnership together, and we are organizing an event each year together, and one will be a study visit, and then it will be also kind of stakeholders conference to exchange with youth workers, consultant researchers, and municipality all together.
So as soon as we will know the venue of this,
you will be informed. You will receive the information because you register, so you also agree to receive the information only related to democracy reloading. And all the social media, we will publish all the offers, so you will know. And your national agency also will be informed.
Even if you don't need it, we will help you.
Stakeholders meetings, it's to plan to take place every year. Sometimes a smaller meeting, more focusing on some specific contents, but every 2 years a bigger meeting in partnership again with Europe Goes Local, so that that the two projects join and bring some synergies. This is quite an important moment in terms of this networking, this part of inspiration, motivation, and building this community. Planned for having next year a joint with Europe Goes Local in Cluj-Napoca in Romania, then 2023 stakeholders meeting, and then again the coming year, again a joint meeting.
In 2024 it will be a big event together with Europe Goes Local under the Belgian EU presidency, because the Europe Goes Local is hosted by the Flemish-speaking National Agency of Belgium. So it will be easy. And last but not least.
Yes, an important information also for you, if you don't know yet, but I hope you already know. So there are national coordinators in the different national agencies. So here you have all the names. So on the left side, it's what we call the full members. So they agree to implement all the activities. And on the other second part, it's more the observing member. It means that maybe they will join the partnership in the future, or they are sending participants to some activities, but they don't take part in all the activities, or they did not all translated the toolkit in their own languages. So there are a couple of differences. But if you are interested and if you want to push a bit your national agency to be part of this partnership, please, you know who to contact. One thing I wanted to highlight also in this partnership is how we cooperate with you, with stakeholders. What we try is always when we train people, when we meet people, when we can find out some interesting practices, is then to organize all these events that we have mentioned before, Module A, Module B, Module C, Stakeholders Conference, all together. So for example, DPAL now is today our main partners for this activity, because they have been part also in the previous activity in the 5 last years, and Bruno was a trainer. But Fabrizio and Laïs, they also took part in another activity called Trio Training. And then we asked them to organize together in their own local community the Module A. With Patricia, for example, she's also doing activities at local level. With the Portuguese National Agency, she is another trainer. With municipality of in Belgium, Jet, we will implement the Module B in French because they participated in Module B in English. So you see, we are always trying to use the resources and use you as full potential and full of resources to also disseminate and implement all these activities. So that was really, it's cooperation, partnership, but not only national agencies, but with all the stakeholders that we are meeting on the way.
This is also why we call it a stakeholder conference, because we are all stakeholders of this issue. It's our common interest to start working, the experts, the researchers, the trainers, the municipality staff, everybody around this table should be equal partners in this. And if you are ready and open to host an activity in these 7 years, please just let us know. And then, of course, money is not a problem, as we say in Hungary.